Hey guys, it's Kalina, and this is my friend Walter. And this is the video about an ex-relationship. Uh, we dated for a couple months, and he was the person I talked to most about the bipolar disorder in my life, except for my parents, of course. And he's the person who tried the most outside my family to learn about it, which really meant a lot to me. So this video might be a little hard for either of us or me, so just be patient with us.
As a pre-note, bipolar is not what broke us up. So, all you couples out there, don't worry.
Okay. Okay. So for the first question we guys had, it was what was the biggest struggle when it came to bipolar disorder for a relationship?
There were two main struggles when it came to the relationship in bipolar. It would have been knowing when you were in a bipolar state and when you were when it was genuine feeling emotion. Um, that was just tough knowing that if she was happy, it might not have been an actual happy, it might have just been a high of the bipolar. And knowing if, oh, she was sad, was it because of me? Or is it just a low part of the bipolar? Was it something I did? That kind of thing. The second issue would have been just dealing with the mood changes themselves, learning how to deal with the fact that 1 minute she'd be happy and 1 minute she'd be sad and 1 minute she'd be angry and throwing a book at me. um, and all of these would happen without any real trigger, it seemed.
I think that's a struggle for people alone too, not even in a relationship, just feeling themselves like, am I really happy right now or is this a high? And so putting another person into that always is definitely a complicated decision. But this isn't to say, we're not trying to say it's the hardest thing to do, because though it didn't make us work perfectly, it worked for a while. So for the next question, it's what was hard to accept or learn about bipolar disorder?
Mm, the hardest part to accept, and I still don't truly accept it, is the fact that it's incurable, as of now, anyways. Um, I mean, there are medications and such, but I'm the kind of person that doesn't like to rely on medications. Like, I'm ADHD, and I rarely take my Adderall just because I don't like the way it changes me. Um, I believe that there are ways to learn around it and learn to live a normal, semi normal life while still being bipolar. Um, in my opinion, it takes work, but I think there are ways to learn what ticks set you off. And of course, there's always going to be the occasional outburst that no one quite knows what just happened, but I think there's ways to learn and maybe calm yourself down or find things that help, if that makes sense.
It does. I think I've been learning from the last couple months that like I do depend on medicine, but I need to depend on myself more to learn. Like I can't just depend on while I'm on medicine, so I don't need to work on these things. It's me being me. It's 100% job. Like I need to be sure that okay, this is obviously going to set me off if I go into the situation. Do I really want to get myself into that? So it's one of those things that you need to work on it yourself as much as you need to work on making sure you're on your medication, because we're not advocating getting off your medication. Okay. How do you think it affected our relationship?
I don't think it really did affect the relationship. It just, well, it affected the way I came into the relationship. But because you told me from the very start of the relationship, hey, this is that I'm bipolar, and I looked up and such, this is what I should expect, this is what to do, this is what not to do. It didn't really affect the relationship. Like, it wasn't like I went into it not knowing and then I learned and the relationship changed. It kind of just started off at where we started off. Like, it started off from knowing. So there was no real change. Uh,
Yeah. So being open and honest is really a key to this. I know it's scary to come up to someone and tell them what is my deepest, darkest secret. To me, I hate letting people know this. It's not something I'm comfortable with. But letting someone know is going to make a healthier relationship than trying to tell them down the road when you're having a crisis and you're like, by the way, I'm bipolar, this is why I'm acting this way. So it's better to be open and honest.
and the, and again, once you do learn the other person who's not bipolar in this situation, it's better to, just because you're told doesn't mean you know what to expect. Research it a little bit, see what you're getting yourself into.
So, what advice can you give to a couple who's dealing with bipolar disorder?
um, the best advice I can give would probably be to look into bipolar disorder, look into what it actually is, which type the person has, what that means, and then once you know what it is that they mean by their bipolar, try to work around it. It takes patience, but I think just learn what sets them off. Learn that maybe if you say certain things or say you use a certain tone in your voice and that sets it off, that makes her really sad or really happy or something like that. It's not a normal happy reaction or a normal sad reaction. Like, if you use an angry tone and she just explodes, then you know that kind of sets it off, and maybe learn to use a different kind of tone that won't set it off. Maybe, certain people or certain places set it off. Just learn what those are and avoid them if at all possible. That's the best I can think of.
Well, that's good advice, actually. So, okay. So, what was your initial intake of finding out I was bipolar, and how did that differ from what it was actually like?
Mm, when I when you first told me you were bipolar, I didn't really have an opinion. I didn't know what bipolar disorder was. Um, I mean, we'd always accuse my sister of being bipolar whenever she switched moods rapidly. Like, she'd come home really sad or whatever, and we'd be like, ah, bipolar. And we'd accuse my little brother of being a Gemini when ever he had like his split personality moment. Like, he'd be happy one minute and then just get really mad at you. But they're not really bipolar. So when she first told me, because I didn't know what to expect, I looked it up and learned what to expect. My initial reaction was just like, something to learn, something interesting. If we're gonna work, I need to figure out more about this kind of thing.
So, um, I was lucky with Walter because he's the kind of guy that when he doesn't know something, he's gonna find it out, and he's gonna help you any way he can. And I'm not saying no guys are like that, and I'm not saying every guy is like that, but finding the person that's there for you when you need someone to understand you
And someone who's willing to learn about it in order to make things work.
is the key to a relationship. So, good luck for all of you. And if you have any questions for the either of us, I will be on all of my sites, like I said before, and you can message me or anything really, and I'll respond. And if you have any questions for him, send them to me, and I will let him know, and he can either answer them through messaging or he'll figure out a way to answer you.
I'll find a way.
And my next video will be with my roommate. So I'm in college, so living with someone is a little interesting when you have bipolar disorder. So that's it. Do you have anything else?
Nope, that's it.